Hello, scammers are not the biggest problem. The people who actually make it easy for them are the biggest problem. The, the people who actually make it easy for them are the biggest problem. Let me prove it to you. So, you say you hate scammers, right? You hate scammers. You click random links online, you still share your OTPs, still trust strangers online, and now tell me, are scammers really the problem or your behavior? Come close. Let's go deeper. Now, you know someone doing fraud, but you stay silent. You hear yahoo yahoo, you close your ear, you laugh, smiling. Now, you know someone who got wealth, sudden wealth through fraud, and you kind of celebrated it. Now, mind you, that's not ignorance anymore. That's support. You celebrated it. Here's the truth. But before then, let me take a sip of water. Now, here is the truth, right? Fraud doesn't really grow in silence, right? Here's how it grows. It grows where in a situation where people normalize fraud, right? We now kind of see it and we look away, right? We normalize it somehow, and most importantly, this, we kind of take it as a culture. Now, what is a culture? A culture is a way of life of people. Now, when scam become a culture, scammers don't just exist anymore. They are enabled by the same people that complains that they hate them. The moment a Yahoo boy actually gets money from his victim, right, and then is back at the hood, is back in the hood with some cash, or he has a car now, he's driving past, and then everybody in the society is kind of like, can you see this also person? And then they are kind of according that respect to that person, right? And then now the other children in the neighborhood now looking up to this fraudster, right? And now what that is doing psychologically is that it is putting into those kids that the only way they can actually get that respect is to get that car. And now for them to get that car, right, because obviously the people that are doing the normal work are not getting that kind of car. Now the only way for them to get that kind of car is to go into fraud. Now that is how we are still raising some we are now raising new young fraudsters. You see, that's the cycle. In some places, right, like where I come from, scam is no longer shameful. It's not a shameful thing now. It is now respected. People now respect scammers, right? And you start hearing something like, sharp guy, he don't make like a smart move, you know. And the problem now is once scams becomes a culture, once crime, once crime, once crime becomes a culture, it becomes a way of life. It becomes normal. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to pass across. This is an honest question from me to you, right? Do you want fraud to stop? Or just probably want to keep complaining about it? Do you want fraud to stop? Or you just want to keep complaining about it? Because honestly, to stop the fraud, right, it's going to be very painful. Right? It really requires something very, very hard. It requires something hard. In case you don't understand what we are kind of talking about here, let me try to put this into perspective for you. Perspective, right? Nigerians lost within the last 5 years, right? Nigerians lost over 134 billion naira to frauds, right? So, how do we stop this? Action. Number one, the economy. We need to create jobs for the youth. Number two, and this is very important, we need to deglorify fraud and re-establish moral anchors. Because you really can't keep living in sin and expect grace to cover you. And this is very important because our institutions are not really doing well, honestly speaking.